Hello and welcome. 15 years ago, June 2011, I sat across from families and scouts, advisors, friends, and to be honest with you, I got laughed at. I was ridiculed. But after this past weekend, MLB is essentially putting a mandate on the exact decision that I was ridiculed about. This past weekend, we had approximately 631 athletes that were drafted in the Major League Draft. Of that, 127 were high school athletes. I want you to understand that the parameters are changing across all levels of baseball. And tonight, for the next 45 minutes, I am going to give you and provide to you statistics, stone cold facts on why playing the long game, trading athletic ability for academic excellence, the need to stop chasing all the showcases, all the tournaments, all of that I'm going to answer here this evening. Stay with me till the end because at the end, I'm going to give you some advice that I just spent 4 days with approximately 80 head coaches across all levels of college baseball. And I was able to talk to the vast majority of them and get their opinions that will help you as a parent. Now, before I go forward, I'm going to do one of two things. I am going to turn my light on. I am going to remind you that we are live. And because we are live, you get to ask questions. Now, for those parents that follow me and kind of interact with me online, and I want to say to you, first and foremost, all of the families, all of the athletes, all the parents that I just met at Showball at Tufts University this past weekend, I cannot thank you enough. I am humbled, I am honored, and I am overwhelmed with the amount of people that I was able to meet and speak with. And I just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you. Now, we are at the All-Star break, the halfway point to the Major League Baseball season. And it is becoming clear that there are some issues that we as adults, parents, need to fully become aware of, and we cannot be caught off guard. Major League Baseball is trying to rewrite the rule book. And what we have learned from this past weekend's draft is that the pathway to college baseball is going to the pathway to professional baseball, to Major League Baseball, is going to squarely run through NCAA Division I. This is something that each parent needs to be extremely aware of. Well, I'm not expecting my son to get drafted, so why is this relevant to me? Well, we need to look at the king of the jungle, the lion in the room, the elephant in the room, the biggest, baddest dude animal in the jungle, the beast. What has Major League Baseball just proposed? They have just proposed, and let me give you the numbers again. And I want you to know that all of these numbers are going to be factored into tonight's discussion. Approximately 631 draft selections, also free agents. Most of the free agents, if not, I would say 90% of all of the free agents. So let's give it a nice, healthy round number of 675 athletes. Of that number, an overwhelming majority, approximately 83% were college Division I student athletes. We had 20 rounds in the Major League Draft that was just completed. As we have read or heard, Major League Baseball, the owners would like to have 10 rounds. What does that mean if you are looking for a seat at the table in college? That means there's going to be more active participants at the collegiate level, not as many athletes exiting college and going into professional baseball. To put that number in perspective, if Major League Baseball were to go to 10 rounds or 12 rounds, the number of athletes would be cut in half. So we would be looking at approximately, and let's just make sure we add the free agent component in there, but we would be looking at, and if I'm using a round healthy number of 700, 350 athletes every year exiting college, as opposed to approximately, say, 600 if we're using the 700 number. Remember, there were 126 high school athletes drafted, the vast majority of which were either A, high-level Division I, C. Grady Emerson, Tampa Bay, overall selection number 2. And then if you go to the back end where teams are taking a flyer on a high school athlete, but overwhelmingly, if Major League Baseball's proposed plan, and the Players Association, they're going to fight for the high school athlete. They're supposedly going to fight for keeping the rounds at 20. But I can tell you from experience, a lot of what the players and a lot of what the owners ask for is just trivial, and it's a giveaway to get to a bigger factor such as free agency, arbitration, etc. Also, the elimination potentially of the high school athletes. So going from 20 rounds to 10, and oh, by the way, eliminating the high school athlete in the draft. Most of this would begin to take place in 2028 as opposed to 2027. But what does this mean? It's a squeeze. It's a squeeze play. And what I want you to understand is the divisions, the Division I division opportunities shrink. And then it's a domino effect across all of college baseball. And so you must understand, when you have Major League Baseball saying they're going to cut the draft from 20 to 10 rounds, they're going to eliminate the high school athlete being able to be drafted. And next, they are looking to cut all of low A baseball. As we exist today, there is no more short season, no more rookie ball. There is low A ball, which is a full season, high A ball, double A, triple A. With the elimination, there's already been contraction of approximately 41 minor league teams. And that was in the previous CBA, which was in 2021, 2022. Now they would eliminate another level of professional baseball. Less chairs, less opportunities at the professional level, less draft opportunities. And now what Major League Baseball is saying is that we are going to push the development of athletes into college athletics. This is a big deal. And I don't think enough families understand the ramifications, the impact that this is going to have on the old narrative of travel baseball, summer schedules, and getting to college and going to play potentially professional baseball. Lot fewer seats, lot fewer doors to possibly gain entry into. And we are going to discuss that this evening. Well, the opportunities, and parents need to understand this. It's not vanishing. It's just the line is getting pushed. And what I want you to understand is the opportunities now to play college baseball, programs, all levels, all divisions, are going to slow their recruiting, just slow it down to a crawl. I have parents right now that are running into a brick wall at 100 miles an hour because their sons have either A, graduated from high school, or B, are entering their senior year. What about recruiting? Where are all the college coaches? Where are all the calls? What's going on? This is 2026. It's not 2016. It's not 2020. It's not pre-COVID. The days of recruiting younger athletes, the days of identifying younger athletes, they're not gone. They're just much smaller pockets for a much smaller group for a precise type of student athlete. And so those days are gone. You may have been going out to summer events, not seeing the same number of college coaches, or in some events, we're seeing more coaches that are staying local to the complex at Lake Point, at Cobb, at Cary. They're not traveling to the outside ancillary fields. This needs to be addressed, and you need to have an understanding of the development can is being kicked down the road by Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball is kicking it to college. College is now able to be much more selective, much more patient. Parents, student athletes must be aware that now more than ever, the development window, meaning strength, speed, skill, size, needs a much longer period of time in your student athlete's schedule. That is a fact. Want to remind you, if you have a question and you would like me to stop anywhere along the line, just please put it into the chat window. If you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, X, put it out there. Let me know. I will stop. These Q&As are for you. What it means for you as a family is this. Now more than ever, that 8 to, say, 13-year-old time period, you really need to be focusing on developing the passion, having some fun, really having a childhood, understanding the priorities. Nothing that you're doing between those age windows is really going to be relevant with regard to high school varsity, college opportunities, major league draft. Nothing. Zip. Zero. Nada. 13 to 16, you really need to start to have a plan with regard to nutrition in the weight room. Now more than ever, I think Tim Corbin from Vanderbilt says it's best. The two most important rooms for a student athlete are the weight room and the classroom. And those rooms need to have challenging curriculum. It's imperative that we understand that there is nothing that you as parents or travel organizations can script. There is no script. There is no yellow brick road. There is no pathway to follow. Everyone must take accountability for their plan as an individual family and as an individual student athlete. You got to love the scammers and everything that they do. Hopefully that goes away. Now, the beast, as I alluded to, Major League Baseball has formally proposed removing high school players from the draft beginning in 2028. Okay, here are some of the parameters. Major League draftees or the draft selecting athletes would need to be 20 by September 1st and 2 years removed from high school. Now, this is a key component, 2 years. So what does that tell you about JUCO? Just understand, these are not formally implemented yet, ratified, they're being discussed. These are what ifs, but I need you to understand, 2 years removed from high school. So if you graduate at 19, 21 is your window. But how many people are really affected by the draft or impacted by the draft? Now, the Major League Players Association has already come out and said, that's not going to happen. This is a live debate discussion. This is a negotiation that's active. Must understand that. But when a group as large, and it's a big boy business, when Major League Baseball tells you where they're heading, because nothing they've ever wanted has ultimately never been implemented, meaning they have wanted the robo umpires. They fought it, they get it. Steroids, they fought it, they get it. Round reduction in the draft, they fought it, they get it. So I'm just telling you, whether it happens in this particular round of negotiation or a future round of negotiation, it's coming. Baseball America said, after the weekend, this particular draft in 2026, it's a fresh footprint. It's evident there are changes coming within the Major League Draft, and that is going to have a massive impact at the college level. And if it's going to impact college, it's going to impact all of the younger athletes from the year 2028 on. I want you to look at this number and just 127 out of 613 that were drafted. Now, we said there are free agents. There are a lot of free agents. Those free agents were predominantly NCAA, NAIA, college student athletes. They were 4-year student athletes. I just want you to look at that number. 4 of every picks came out of college. Now, 127. So for every Brady Emerson, there are pitchers in the draft that were high school athletes that thought, they were rated in the top 100. They didn't get drafted till the 18th round. Now, a lot of this has to do with collective and name, image, and likeness. A lot of athletes have the ability to get paid in college. That's another potential pillar of what families are going to have to begin to understand. Meaning, you want to be one of those athletes that, is part of the collective or part of the name, image, and likeness. You have to begin to understand preparation for that begins between the ages of 13 and 16. Most of the athletes that I see out and about during the summer, and I've been to not only the show ball events, I've been to American Legion tournaments, I've been to senior Little League and Babe Ruth events, I've been to some travel ball at the Boston Classic. A lot of young athletes, they're physically not ready for college baseball. Now, I can say that. I'm not a college coach. But when you hear the college coaches say, if I look down these lists of athletes, here's a live list from the show ball athlete. This is a 2028 weight, 140, 150, 160, 165, 170, 170. That's on the sheet. This is just one sheet. 140. It's either pay me now or pay me later, but any way you slice it, if you're not implementing a developmental plan, having an individual approach to high school varsity athletics, and then ultimately potentially college. And again, this is not a D1 lecture. This is college baseball. I talked to a JUCO coach today at length. Walt, we're waiting till after the draft finishes up, and we want to see who is still looking for a home. They didn't say we're looking for high school athletes. They didn't say we're looking for college athletes. They did say we're looking for now players, and that's at the JUCO level. I want you to look at this slide, and I want you to see if you understand the story. 166 different unique Division I colleges were drafted. Georgia had 13. Now, the SEC, the ACC, like North Carolina, LSU, Vanderbilt, Texas, Oklahoma, obviously a lot of these boys came from there that were drafted. But look at the number, 166 different Division I college. Now, that means almost 55% of the approximate 300 NCAA Division I colleges had a player drafted. I was sitting with Ryan Klosterman and Frank Holbrook. Ryan is the head coach at Bryant, and Frank is the head coach at Brown. We were listening, watching the draft on Sunday. Stony Brook, Binghamton, Niagara, Buffalo, St. Joseph's. Those are just a few. Those schools were having players drafted. Yes, the overwhelming number is from the Power Four, but the number one takeaway here is college athletes are where the Major League Scouts are gathering. It's as simple as that. So again, I want to tie this back into your student athlete. Understand fewer seats, fewer opportunities, larger volumes of athletes going to colleges, having to stay there for a minimum of 2 years. See JUCO. That's what I'm referring to. Is your athlete at 18, 19 going to be ready to compete with the new 5-and-5 world, with the new the caps, the 34 cap, NCAA Division II, no cap, Division III, no cap, NAIA, no cap. But those schools also have developmental programs and JV programs. So while Division I is capped at 34, down below at the other levels and divisions within college baseball, including JUCO, you might have rosters like 55 up to 80. So at what point are you going to address the big beast in the room? Meaning you have to be as strong, as fast, as skilled as these athletes. 19 of the first 43 first-round picks in 2025 were high schoolers. The number one pick was a prep shortstop. This year, the number one pick was a college player. And in the first round, high schoolers were the exception. They were not the rule. 1 year into the changes, as they're beginning to, think of a big boat. Like I'm in Boston and we have the big, tall sail ships, the tall ships that are in the port in Boston. These boats are like multiple football fields long and high, and they can't just turn on a dime. Well, neither can Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball turns like this. One big, gigantic, kind of slowly moving object. That is what we're dealing with. I want you to stop and look at this number, 88%. Just look at 88%. All big leaguers, 88% were developed through college. And let's read this last line together, shall we? 88% of big leaguers who developed through college were not ranked in high school. Huh. Anybody telling all the people, the hype machines on social media? Anybody sharing that? I'm just going to come right out and say, these are the things that I want parents, athletes. This is straight up fact. And the reason why I'm doing these slides is because I get called out every single week by wannabe. Look, I've been doing this for 5 years. Do not ride my coattails. You want a product you want to sell? Go sell it on your own. You want to hype something? Go do it on your own. But I'm just going to come out here with straight up facts that you can verify, validate, do whatever you want. The bottom line is rankings are nothing more than a big bag of cow manure, horse manure, pig manure, bull manure. And I think parents, I want you to understand that 75% of today's domestic, meaning not the Latin, not the Shohei Otanis of the world, but 75% of domestic North America baseball players went through college. The rankings that you were sold at 12 do not decide a single thing. Source, Major League Baseball. Booyah. Okay. The top of the funnel is always going to be open for those talented athletes. If you have a talented athlete, the top of that funnel is always going to be open. For every Brady Emerson, every high school draft pick, the top is not going anywhere. It's everything below the top, meaning if you are, slightly above average, below average, the elite prep athletes are going to get drafted. They are going to get paid. They are the minority. They are the exception. They certainly are not the rule. But if your son is not like that very elite athlete, that direct pathway to like not only the Power Fours or college or Major League Baseball, those windows are closing. And that's the emphasis of tonight's discussion. It's not to scare anyone. It's to inform, but it's to inform families what you are sold from as young as 8 through 12 and in and through middle school and ultimately high school is rankings, metrics, showcases, exposure, lots of coaches. But Walt, you just talked about going to show ball. Isn't that a showcase? Show ball is about academics, which is my thesis to anything I've ever talked about in the last 5 years. Trading athletic ability for academic excellence, which is what we're going to talk about here going forward. So what I want you to understand is the plan, it's not, should I start lifting? Should I start worrying about focusing on my development on my own? Should I start preparing earlier with regard to nutrition, maybe test scores, maybe, tutoring, anything that will help my athlete be fully prepared for college, any level of college? The answer is 100% unequivocally yes. Yes, you need to do that. Now, here's where we need to understand Division I rosters have that cap. Now, what this does is all of those families and those athletes that for years have been victims of, I don't even know what to call them, the ranking services, the recruiting services. Hey, do me a solid, take this guy in. I don't care if you red shirt him. I don't care if you gray shirt him. I don't care what you do, but I can say, hey, he's going at school X. And I can say, my guy, he's going to school X. Congratulations, you're a Division I athlete. And then they ghost you and your student athlete when suddenly they're being asked to redshirt, or they're being cut in December, or they're being cut at an exit meeting the following spring. Division I has a hard cap. What is a hard cap? Means every roster spot has to matter. Every roster spot has to have a production value. There are no more like, let's just bring him in and hope he develops. Let me hope he, grows 2 inches and puts on 30 pounds. Division I is a now guy. It's 20, possibly 21 pitchers, and all the bats have to be able to produce should there be an injury. You have to understand, Division I is for the big boys to do big boy things. It's a man's world, and you better be physically the same. You better be on par skill-wise, foot speed-wise. You need to be ready to play Division I athletics if you're going to try and do that out of high school. The old scholarship limit is gone. Not all schools are fully funded. That is a myth. That is a myth. As I talked about in the last few weeks, SEC, everybody has 34 scholarships. ACC, a few schools have 34. For the vast majority of Division I schools, they are still in that 11.7. Maybe they're in the 15. In some cases, some are not even fully funded at 11.7. Townsend, there's a few, schools that aren't even fully funded. They might have 8 or 9. So we really have to pay attention to that, because everybody thinks Division I is a full allotment of 34. That's not the case. Those schools, and there's still schools that are going to be opting in. For instance, the Patriot League, they may be opting in to the collective. I don't want to go too deep down that rabbit hole, but what that will mean is there'll be revenue that they'll be able to share with their athletic programs. There'll be scholarships at some schools that currently don't offer scholarships, like Lafayette, schools like that. I had a great talk with A.J. Miller at Lafayette. But it's important to understand that the walk-on at Division I has essentially disappeared. I get this question a lot. My son got into school X. We're thinking about walking on. Probably not going to happen. Used to have a walk-on tryout day at a lot of Division I schools. Not so much anymore. Now, there is some movement afoot that, and I want to avoid as much of this until next week, but another rock that is about to fall on the high school athlete is the 2026 athlete that just graduated from college that was told they were not going to get a 5th year. The lawsuits and the litigation is coming out the chucha, and they are winning. Now, the easy solution for the NCAA is to just grandfather all the 2026s as a DSA, a designated student athlete. That would allow the rosters to take on those extra athletes and not penalize the incoming high school athletes. But you need to keep your eyes and ears open, because those 26 college graduates, if they get that extra year grandfathered in, or they get designated as a DSA, a student athlete, if you thought the rosters were crowded last year, they're going to be even more. So when you start to factor in, we are now going into 5 years, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, graduate student, 5 years of classes making up right now, as we're talking, the 34 rosters. But if it goes into Division II, which I think it will in January, it's going to make its way down to Division III. The squeeze play is officially on. Okay, so what does this mean? I want you to understand there's now a more demand is coming from Major League Baseball. They want Division I athletes. They are going to scout heavily Division I athletes. And the reason is, if we look at the ascent from Division I college campuses to professional baseball, AKA Paul Skeens and a few others, that number is rising. It used to be you'd spend 2 to 4 years in the minor leagues and then get to the big leagues. Well, now there's a 2-year window, and that has to do with cost savings, cost certainty, your first 3 years as a big leaguer. a lot of things that aren't relevant to the college crowd or the high school crowd. But now there's more demand for Division One. There's more demand. There's less seats. No more red shirt. No more gray shirt. No more walk-on. No more expanded rosters. We used to have 40, and with red shirts that would balloon over 50. Those days are gone. And it's not anything that is trying to penalize a high school athlete. It's just math. It's math. Those numbers have been implemented. The coaches have to work with those numbers. And I want you to understand this doesn't really impact the current Division One landscape as much as it does your kitchen table today of your high school athlete. And the middle school athlete. You don't want to wait until the junior or senior year to try to think about, okay, now what? You really want to have an idea as to, what is our plan going to be? What is our plan? And so you need to understand any entry point into college athletics, NCAA Division III, Division II, NAIA Division I, Division II, JUCO, Division I, Division II, or Division III, any college entry point to put a resume together. Now, I get this question all the time by parents, and I will say to them, if you are so confident in your student athlete that they're going to be wildly successful at Division I, then your student athlete should be able to go to Division III or Division II and absolutely shove, absolutely put big boy numbers on a board and prove that you have the skill set that Division I coaches want. Because if you do that today, as we're talking 2026, you can transfer laterally. You can go into the portal. You can go up Division I and have 4 additional years. But you got to play to create the resume. That's just the bottom line. Let's see. The talent is not vanishing. The talent is spreading out. I want you to think about this as like if we're in a rainstorm and you get a mudslide and you see that mud just going to, coming down the mountain, and all of a sudden it just starts to go all over the street and you got, all kinds of debris. That's kind of what's happening within college athletics. A lot of athletes are getting spread out through all levels of Division I, all levels of Division II and III. NAIA, JUCO is coming in. It's just widening out. It's just creating a bigger surface area. It used to be all at that Division I level, and you could tell there was a massive kind of separation of talent. Now the lines have blurred. And I promise you, if I took the top 25 to 50 Division III NCAA baseball teams and I put them in a white uniform and I picked any Division I. Now, yes, SEC is going to have a lot more depth. ACC going to have some depth. Big 12, Big 10, I get it. But if all the pitchers are the same and we're not factoring in bullpens, starting pitching, you would not be able to tell the difference between Division III and Division I. One's in white, one's in gray. You tell me who you think the better players are. That line is getting blurred deeper and deeper each and every year as we begin to move forward. JUCO. I get this asked all the time. JUCO is now, and I don't care what level of JUCO, Jeff Mazia at Northern Essex has done an amazing job. He is now the new head coach at Merrimack College in Andover. But he coached an NJCAA Division III program. They went to the World Series 8 out of 10 years. And that team was loaded with athletes that went on to play Division I baseball, including his own son, who ended up at Maine. JUCO, I cannot emphasize this enough. It is a great path. My oldest son took it. He went to LSU Eunice. The other thing to understand is if we're talking about high-level academic student athletes, of which that is my forte, that is what I deal with. Those are the families that I deal with. Division three, NESCAT, UAA. We could go into the NUMAC. We could go into the North Atlantic. We could go into a plethora of Division three conferences. And those schools, Babson, WPI, RPI, Salve Regina, Endicott. These are great schools. They're great schools. And oh, by the way, those Division three coaches, MIT, I talked with Chris Morris, Matt Colbert at Williams. They know that if they get a dude on campus, it's already starting to happen, that they put a resume together, they're going to probably look to get up to Division one, but they've earned that opportunity. Let's see what questions we have. Is it a waste of time for a 28 to start emailing coaches now? You had mentioned that colleges are not recruiting juniors. It's not that colleges are not recruiting juniors. They are evaluating juniors. So there is a big difference between recruiting, following, and evaluating. I think a lot of families struggle with okay, I'm about to be a rising junior August 1st. Here comes all the college coaches. Now, for the elite athletes, those athletes that are power arms or power hitters or extremely skilled, fast, strong athletes, they will get some recruiting traction. But for the vast majority of juniors, when I say juniors, rising juniors, 2028s, what they want to see is a full transcript, which happens in June of 2027. They want to see a physical progression. That's what they're looking for. Those are the things that they're looking for. And so you really have to understand and come to the understanding that recruiting may mean a lot more dialogue, but no offers. Maybe they just want to follow the progression, because ultimately the portal in the JUCO world is now filling the coffers of the vast majority of Division One and Division Two rosters. The Division Three coaches get to look into the portal. Who's getting cast away? Who wants to come home? Wisconsin Whitewater, Chapman, Pomona Fitzer, all of those things. Always initiate your communication beginning that August 1st, when college coaches can openly communicate, converse with you via email, text, phone calls, etc. Always start that August 1st of your rising junior fall, but limit your expectations. Communicate. Some coaches are slower to evaluate. Some want to just see a maturity, a maturation, but that's okay. Understand this. It's not a race to the finish line. You have to run your race, because you may be chasing the wrong rabbit, and that rabbit may take you to a destination that doesn't fit your student athlete. And this is where I tend to deviate from a lot of other people. And I respect their opinions, by the way. I do not. Look, I have a lot of people that disagree with me or tell me that I'm, a lot of bad things. And that's fine. I have no problem with that, because we all have the ability to discuss. Debating is healthy. Difference of opinion allows you to formulate what works best for you as parents and student athletes. But understand this. You must run your own race. Don't base your student athletes, focal direction for college on somebody else's pathway. Educate and really prepare for your student athlete. You're very welcome, Joe. Thank you for joining me. And Trevor, in Mississippi, I know it's hot there, my good man. Okay, here's the thing. You must understand, a coach's pathway never shrinks. In other words, coaches have responsibilities to their universities and schools, their colleges, but also to their athletic departments. Their schools have been around for hundreds of years. They have nothing to panic about. The sky is not falling on the college coaches. As parents, you're going to be sold, and you're being sold, and you're being told that you need to have closure, and you need to kind of pick your destination like yesterday. Like you snooze, you lose. These roster spots are going to evaporate. What's to stop the college coach from saying, sorry, when you're a senior in high school? I know what we offered you as a junior, but things have changed. There's been a change in direction. We didn't realize we were going to have access to these types of athletes in the portal. Our athletes are going to stay an extra year because the NCAA has just made a blanket waiver, and that every NCAA level gets 5 years. We're sorry. But yeah, we're sorry. But you're going to be told and you're going to be sold that you need to have a home as a high school junior or really the beginning of your senior year. Nope. The pathway to college now is at the completion of your junior year in high school. You need to understand one very basic foundational point. A pre-read, regardless of the level of academics, meaning I've had parents say to me, well, my student athlete doesn't want to go to Ivy League or Patriot League or NESCAT or UAA or Vanderbilt or Wake Forest. They just want to go, sports management. Okay, well, they're going to need a transcript. And they're going to need test scores, which is a subject for another day. But test scores are coming back. They're going to make a pivot. Whether you believe me today, I mean, I've been saying things for 5 years that ultimately come true. And it's not because I'm lucky. And I want parents to understand test scores, whether you want to believe it or not, are going to be an integral part of your financial aid packages, the stacking of athletic and academic money. So prepare accordingly. I think it's important. And make sure you're making decisions that you're trying your best to trade your athletic ability for your academic wish, your desire, whatever that may be. Here we go. Now, this is what it means for you as a family. Now, I have gone out of my way to try to separate myself. And when I say that, I want you to understand when people put up these fancy camera angles and that you get to see them from the side and you get to see them from with the blurred fancy background, I get it. It really looks cool. And most of those people will only do 12-minute, 14-minute videos because that is what captures the algorithm. Doing an hour-long video does not capture the algorithm. But I want to just finish by saying 8 to 13, nothing changes. Please, for the love of God, play multiple sports. Change of season, change of reason. That's my verbiage. That was my dad talk to my boys. Please look at that and let that be a part of your life. Don't give away time with your children. Vacations, sports, activities, music, whatever it may be, museum trips. 8 to 13, nothing changes. 14 to 18. It's not about Division One. It's just about, okay, is this where we want to navigate our ship? Think of the metaphor, the big, tall ship that has to make a slow directional change. I asked a lot of coaches this past weekend at Show Ball, when should athletes begin to focus on their grades for college? And they said yesterday, freshman year, first day, be ready. It's not a Division One or bust mindset. It is preparing to be a college student. If you want to be a college student athlete, it begins at age, say, 13 or 14. Strength, nutrition, sleep, hydration, grades, skill set development, they all matter. If you're 17 through 19, and let's call that the junior year through senior year of high school, we have to consider the JUCO route. We have to consider the Division III route, the NAIA, those pathways that allow your athletes to get between the lines. It cannot be a sliver, like a millisecond of an opportunity to play Division I. Forget about Division I. If it happens, fantastic. That's the exception. The rule has to be, let's prepare to be a quality college student athlete. I want to look the part. I want to participate the part, meaning my skill set is comparable. I want to blend in. That's the key. The number one, 15 years ago, I was laughed at. I was ridiculed. And I'm not saying this to be a pompous braggart. I had to leave Massachusetts and move to New Orleans, to Louisiana. My boys went to college in the South. Everywhere I went, you know, You just blew out your son's only opportunity. What if he gets hurt? That's a lot of money. All I wanted to do as a dad was live by one creed, which was play the long game. Meaning, having an experience between 19 and 24 before the real world slaps you in the face. Having a group of peers, friends, faculty, coaches that are going to be a part of your student athlete's life. And oh, by the way, along the way, you get a degree. Well, the degree isn't worth the paper it's written on. Most people who go to college don't even end up working where they got their degree. Okay. Salespeople must have 4-year degree or equivalent thereof. To be a college head coach, trust me, I know, you have to have a 4-year degree. You want to coach at the Division II or Division I level, we'd like you to have a graduate degree. Okay, they don't ask you where, they just ask you if you have it. If you live by the creed of trading athletic ability for the college experience, college excellence, whichever word you want to use, you play the long game. You're giving your child, I'm not going to use student athlete, it's your child, it's your son or daughter. You're giving them an experience that will help them become the best version of themselves as a future spouse, as a future parent, as an employee or an employer. They will have a lifetime of moments and memories, all brought to you by the college collective experience. I want you to understand that's the message. That's the big picture. If you take nothing away, take a picture of this slide. Protect the fun. Keep your children in the second or third sport. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to chase. Don't be sold. Don't be scared. Don't do any of that. If you're about to be a freshman in high school or you're a sophomore in high school, remember that the grades will always, always open doors that athletics simply cannot. I had conversations with all kinds of coaches this weekend, and they're telling me horror stories of guys, athletes they really wanted to recruit. They just could not get them through the pre-read. The sooner you recognize that and you understand that, and the sooner A's and B's play. You don't have to chase the honors and the AP. A's and B's, steady as she goes. Transcript. If you're a junior or a senior in high school, make a list. Make a list of all the levels. Have a JUCO, you can have a post-grad year, you can have a JUCO, you can have an NAIA, you can have an NCAA. Make a list. And then check them all off and which ones actually fit your student athlete. The last thing I want to really emphasize, anything that I do on social media, everything that I do on social media, I'm not competing with anyone. I'm 63 years old. My boys are 35 and 33. I'm not here to tell you to do what I did as a parent. What I am going to do is help educate you so that there's no reason to panic. There's no reason to chase. Take a big deep breath and let's choose. Let's choose a pathway. I take pride in interacting with parents that have 13, 5-year-olds, that have 11-year-olds that I, talk to, and now they're 16. Watching them get older. There's no greater joy in life as a coach than watching young athletes grow up and become a man and knowing that you were able to be a small part of that. That's what I do. I want you to understand stacking days, weeks, months, and years. It's a lot longer than you're being told or sold. If you have a long runway ahead of you as a parent, use it. Revel in it. Live in it because it goes by so quick. There's more time than you think. Think about your child first and not the athlete. Think about the child. Look at their pictures when they were 5 and 6 blowing out birthday candles. Look at them swinging a bat or playing catch for the first time on your phone. I used to have a camcorder that tells you how old I am. Look at the dates on those things. Fast forward to today. It went by in a blink. Are you going to race through those high school years just to get to what? Don't give time away. So I want you to understand this is something I have done for almost 40 years. This is something I do on a regular basis. I talk to parents. I talk to younger parents. I talk to older parents. I talk to nervous parents. I talk to calm parents. The big thing is to understand it all starts, get in the baseball blue book. That's a great way. A lot of college coaches, especially at Showball, all the metrics from Showball instantly appear on a blue book profile. So that's just one of many videos and the metrics and tracking, things like that. Want you to do follow on YouTube, trying to grow the YouTube channel, follow, subscribe, engage. That will help. Also follow on Twitter, on X, Coach Beede. Get in there, subscribe to CoachBeede.com because I'm going to be sending out weekly newsletters that are age specific. So we're not just going to lump everybody into a college recruiting because a lot of people aren't really going to get to college recruiting. And I'm going to help you navigate from age 6 all the way up to 18 and everything in between. I hope that this presentation has served its purpose. I really am grateful for all of you that continue to send your letters, your emails that come up to me when I'm at various events. I am humbled. I must tell you, when an athlete comes up to me and says, "Coach, I watch your videos," or mom or dad pulls me out of the crowd, I am honored and I am grateful. And I say thank you. Trevor, thank you. What would you say is a good NAIA athletic scholarship offer for baseball? Well, the good news is if you are above a 3.2, you are going to get a great scholarship. And oh, by the way, at the NAIA level, every semester you are a student in good standing, you get more money. At the University of the Cumberlands, Brad Shelton, the head coach there, has told me there are many students. It's a great business school, the Cumberlands. I'm just going to use that one. Obviously, Tennessee Wesleyan, obviously, Georgia Gwinnett, obviously, Johnson University, Ottawa, and Arizona. Those schools basically come to about $4,000 a year for tuition after academic and athletic money. NAIA is the best bang for your buck, and I say that loudly and proudly. NAIA should be on. Now, in the Northeast, we have, schools like Fisher College. There's not a lot of NAIA schools in the Northeast. They're very plentiful throughout the Southeast, throughout the Southwest. And the weather's great, the facilities, the amenities are great. I would absolutely look at any of those schools that I just mentioned. So again, Trevor, thank you. Romans, thank you. Joe, thank you. I appreciate everybody watching. Please spread the word. I hope you have a great week. I hope a summer vacation. I hope you're going fishing. I hope you're getting ready for football or soccer or lacrosse or whatever that might be. If you like tonight's video, please share it with someone. Share it with anybody. Share the community. Let's help grow this community and really help families as we go forward. Thank you all.